that what is practice management. So just start thinking about that what we do day to day. Our customers. And he is thinking about all these things. So he has got his own challenges, problems, needs of his life. And this is what happens on the other side. Is it any different or very different for majority of us across India? Very different? I don't think it's very different. So most of the time, for most of the people across India at large, it's product-centered. And you go, and so I think if I go and equate that with a medical profession, which you said, that before I show or I tell that what is the problem I have got a bunch of medicines on the table, go and have it. Before I can go and give my form 16 to my chartered accountant, I got something ready that just go and file it. It cannot happen that way. So we are like chemists today, who keep on distributing, or we sell what we want to sell, or I want to promote, or we sell that what people ask. And more often than not that happens. Force feed, one medicine for all. Whatever happens, take a crocin, have it, you will be fine by tomorrow morning. So what we need to be a doctor, diagnose financial health. I don't know how many times and how many of us do it, because at the same time we have an urgency to close the sale. At the same time we want to have some revenue. And that's why most of the times we fail to diagnose financial health. Analyze reports. So we have to analyze that what the other person is saying, understand that fully, and then try to do something, then try to diagnose, and then try to analyze. Ensure correct remedy and treatment, and that will remain a key, because when we see lot many people are not happy with mutual fund product, or when we go in surveys, so I think I have seen at least 9 or 10 surveys who goes and tracks all the brands and the mutual fund industry per se. Every time I get one, so every time things keeps on changing, but one thing comes out every time. Very, very common. And that's the understanding, and please correct me if I'm saying, if you don't agree with that thing, and that one understanding or one outcome has came from all those surveys is mutual fund is equal to equity is equal to risk. Is that any different for any of you or of our customers? I don't think that's different. So the common larger point remained there is that we are an industry which is very risky. Despite of the fact that 60% or 70% of my assets have nothing to do with the share market. And per se share market is not bad. But the thing is, since we have done a force fit for everything, and that's why it has happened. And track progress, and that's very, very important, very crucial for our practice, because if I go and just give you medicine, or even if one single medicine for all, are we tracking, are we saying that, okay, let's check it every 3 months or every 6 months? Are we following up on the actions what we have done, what we have recommended, what is already executed? Are we following up on that? So basically, we are certified personal financial practitioner. And when I'm talking about certified, this can be 10 different bodies and non-bodies, but if you go and find a way to do it, that's what I'm recommending and I'm saying. An evolution is very necessary. So not everybody and not 100% client will become like that on the day one. But from where to start and where to go, we must find a direction. That in which direction I want to go. Because if we really want to find a status of a practitioner, then we have to do something for that. And when I go and address sometimes the doctor's conference, and every time I go and say that when you write me a prescription, every time I go and follow it. When I try to recommend you something, that please write me this medicine, the answer which I get is, Doctor main hu ya aap. And if I don't follow your prescription, I get an answer that agli baar se jaake khud ilaj kar lijiye. Why it is not happening for this? And the answer I get from a very reputed doctor is that you don't follow a practice. Every third person comes to me and tells me something different. And very recently I have addressed 2 big conferences of doctors, medical practitioners, and the gist was the same, because everybody has very different method. So if you want to follow a practice, then there has to be something which we are going to follow in common. I think platform like MFRT can very well promote that for the good of the industry, for good of the best practices. And what can be those best practices? So in the next year's MFRT, I would love to see a topic, a module where we are going to follow that this is going to be our charter. This is going to be our best practice module. And we commit, we take a pledge that people who are associated with MFRT are going to follow it. I've seen in one country which is notorious and being famous for being full of cheats, and I have seen one thing which was very, very different. Then on some of the camps there was a sticker, that fair camp, and I tried to find out that what is this. They said this is an association of cab drivers who have formed an association and put this sticker. Firstly, they were beaten up by their fellow cabman, and then even then they kept on doing it so that people can understand that the person who is having this sticker is associated with a fair cab team. What do? They just charge fairly. So what is the preference of the customer when he tries to look for a cab? He goes for that sticker, that I want to follow this. And over a period of time, that fair cab association will keep on growing. So if you can have a best practice, this thing on your own, I think that will be good for the industry. So from product selling, we can go for the profile-based selling. We can go and profile our customer. We can go and start doing asset allocation. From asset allocation, we can go to the financial planning, basic financial planning. And at one point of time, somebody will come and give me a comprehensive financial planning. And those people should be coming out from this forum. Those people should be coming from our distribution fraternity. So how can we achieve this? Focus customer segmentation and value proposition. That's what we are going to offer. Shift from transaction-based solution to service focus. Get us a person, what do I need? And then from a transaction, you come down to my needs, that what as a person I need. And developing a viable customer engagement. Customer engagement is much, much deeper than doing just the transaction. Customer engagement happens when you become a part of my life, when I can think of without my family doctor. And sometimes when we really need it badly, I travel to Delhi to meet my family doctor. Why? Because it's a very different kind of engagement. He understands me and I have full trust on him. It's not of understanding from both sides. He understands me and I have a full trust that he has a remedy for me. And that will happen over a period of time. That will not start from the day one. So what can be one of the probable way or probable path? First is discovery. Identify client psyche, their needs and resources. When we talk about discovery and when we talk about psyche, I think most of the time we have classified clients into aggressive and conservative. So for an aggressive customer, what can be the asset allocation, a probable asset allocation? Normally equity. Now, that's what the psyche is. For a conservative investor who is very comfortable with equities, his conservative things can be investing large portion into large cap stocks and some portion into mid cap stocks. For a conservative investor who is a safety oriented customer, moving from bank deposit to mutual fund, bond fund is a big shift. So it cannot be a one single cut. That aggressive is 80% equity and conservative is 80% debt. You have to understand with what he is comfortable with. If we go to an amusement park, we find that not many people are really enjoying when they are sitting on roller coaster. And at the same time you find that so many people are not comfortable with. They don't touch it. That's what understanding psyche. Assessment, identify appropriate investment strategies, do a proper evaluation, go and implement that plan honestly, the way you have understood, evaluated, assessed and agreed. And then the most importantly, keep on monitoring, and most important is keep on hand-holding them. And when you go and do that entire thing, then some way or the other you will start falling in the definition of practitioner. And there can be hundreds of ways when you can do that. Discovery is understand the client psyche, high, medium and low risk, aggressive and conservative, specific to individual mindsets, identify their needs, identify their resources, as per the life stage determine the asset allocation. Now on the life stage thing, there is one thing which is very, very interesting. I have one of my IFA and who is doing my investment or managing my investment for the last 12-13 years. But there is one thing which is missing in that. When I started my career, my requirement was completely different. I was just depositing my money. But what has changed today in the last 15 years? What can be my first requirement that has gone a change? Today, my first concern is that I want to do a succession plan. I want to have a will. I want to manage my finances properly. And if he keeps on doing it the same manner what he was doing 15 years back, then he has not kept the pace the way world is changing. So till 15 years back, we were getting a shot of the polio on our bum. Today it's 2 drops. And the technology has changed. So everything has changed. Portfolio execution as per the risk profile, execute the equity, debt and other investments, investment objective, investment horizon and the risk profile. Portfolio management via CETV, customer lifetime value. How many times we go and see that how many customers do we have? How many customers have bought only one product or 2 products or 3 products from us? What are the different things they need? Do you know that on the whole, in the entire mutual fund industry, normally a customer holds how many products? How much? Not more than 1.5. So what we are doing is, we are wasting a lot of those potential where we can go and increase our revenue, at the same time satisfy my client. So somebody who has bought equity is buying equity, somebody who has bought is buying debt, somebody who has bought one-time SIP, we are happy with that. Can we go and do the cross-sell and the upsell to satisfy their life stage needs? Because their needs will keep on changing and we need to go and satisfy their needs. Because this is the cost of acquisition, and over a period of time when you retain that client, you get these kind of profits. And this is very normal. But once you go and do a more efficient acquisition or do a cross-sell and upsell, you get more profits from the same customer, and the longer retention brings you a humongous amount of profits, because the cost of acquisition from the same clients or from their referrals is much lesser. At the same time, the satisfied clients and a cross-section of products will give you much more profit. So I think it's a big requirement to go back and look at your portfolio, that if I have 1,000 clients or 500 clients, how many of clients have bought a repeat purchase from me? In times because of one of my mistakes, because we have not diagnosed one thing properly. But the dialogue must happen. The hand-holding must happen. And we have seen sometimes when we are doing a proper hand-holding of the customers, with the biggest of the losses, customer stayed back and given you much more money. Even if he has got much more profits, no hand-holding and communication, somebody took that client away. So why will this work? A positive and constructive conversation changes the dynamic of the relationship from being a benchmark to satisfying the client needs, and changes the behavior of clients during volatile markets. Create a rational framework of expectation that why we are doing a particular thing, and that has to be put or explained in advance, that we are not doing any magic, or we are not in the business of doing any magic. Over a period of time, you go and involve deeply with those customers. If you go and start doing understanding your customers and start completing their financial needs. And that will bring into increased retention is equal to increased revenue and profits, and creates true differentiation and offer advice and solution to current and prospective client. Then your client starts referring you to many more people. Then your client becomes your brand ambassador. Then he starts recommending you to many more people. I think this is one of the most important 2 slides which I'm going to say. The creating value through unlearning. Because if we are talking about the way I started, that we have done 7 lakh crores, should we be happy as an industry or not? I don't think we have any rights to go and celebrate and be happy. If you have not got the kind of customers we should have got as an industry, I don't think we have any right to be very happy and celebrating. If most of those customers are not very happy for X, Y, and Z reasons, then what can be the thing which can change many of these things? Unlearning is a prerequisite for problem solving, innovation, and creativity. Till the time we keep on harping on the same things which we have done in the last 20 years, I don't think that a big thing is going to change. So when we say innovation, I think unlearning can be a better word. That can we let go few of those things which we have kept on doing for the last so many years, that I know how it will be done, and try to see rationally what can be done differently at this point of time. What takes much more time when we want to paint our house? When our house gets painted, there are 2 things or 2 processes. First, you go and take the paint away from the wall, and then you go and paint the wall. What takes much more time? 70% time goes on stripping the wall. Repainting is 30%. That will be a problem for most of us, but that's very necessary if we really want to create a different thing. Let's start unlearning few things which have not yielded result till this time, and start learning new ways to do those business, to do our practices. We have done our practice in a particular manner. If 2% people have conducted their practice in a different manner, results are different. Let's go and adopt some of those changes. Let's start unlearning few things. Unlearning avoids strategic mistakes and avoid missing the bus. 4 lakh crore every year incrementally is going into different avenues or traditional avenues and not coming to mutual fund industry. And mutual fund industry has remained where it is for the last few years. Why? So till the time we are not going to unlearn as a manufacturer, as an industry, as a distributor, I don't think that it's going to be very different from what we have done till this time. Creating value through unlearning. What your target market, because the target market has just changed. At so many forums I've heard, I think now I'm focusing on the salaried employees. Now we are focusing on BPO customers. Now we are focusing on business things. So your client profile is changing over the period of time very rapidly. How you are changing according to that? At work for yourself because you work for your customer. So don't decide that what you want to do. Try to understand that what your customer wants. And the moment you will start doing that, things will start changing, because that comes the first. Short-term thinking, because then it will be very, very difficult to get long-term success. So stop looking at what can happen in the next 3-6 months. Start understanding that what can change things in the long term. What my client requires over a period of time. And then you start thinking in those lines. The way the market, because the market has just got smarter. Every minute. I was just seeing those handouts, and there was some beautiful material that what is the way communication, carrier of those media and social media has changed. And has changed the life. So if I don't like my servicing of my AC, I just go and tweet it. And I think many of those things are changing. So just try to understand what is the market, where is those markets, and try to realign yourself. If you do not change the direction, we will end up where we were going. It means that if we really want to see this industry going and growing, multiplying and multiple times from here, I don't think that it will be the same way we have done the business in the last 10, 15, 20 years. We have to start tweaking just a bit. So if we keep on driving straight, I think our direction is not going to change. So if you want to go from one place to another, the one thing you do is that tilt your steering sometimes to take a different direction. And that is a different direction I think we need to take this industry and to change our practice. Thank you very much.